Good times, great music at 2NURFM 103.7. This will be an interesting topic, that's for sure. Normally, we're joined by Professor Claire Collins to talk all things nutrition and diet today, but subbing for Claire is a PhD candidate at the University of Newcastle, also has the Bachelor of Nutrition and Dietetics. His name is Mark Leary, and Mark, I say this has got to be a challenging thing for many folks, and I'm putting my hand up to be right in the mix here. Food addiction. Now, firstly, good morning, welcome along.
Yes, thank you, Mark, and thanks for having me on.
Now, for those who probably think, you know what, I think I probably am addicted to food, there are many things that we can be addicted to. There's drinking, smoking, gambling, spending money, but food is tricky because no matter what, I still have to eat 3 times a day. We can't get around it. So how do you manage that?
Yeah, look, a really, really good question, and I guess what we're doing at the University of Newcastle is to try and uncover and try and help people that maybe are thinking the same thing. You know, you need to eat to survive, to live. So what we're doing at the university is we're looking at trying to recruit some people to come into a study that we have going at the moment, which is actually looking at the effectiveness of a dietitian-led intervention aimed at helping people manage their addictive eating behaviours. So I guess first and foremost, we're really focusing on the behavioural aspect, like that psychological aspect that food can have.
That's a good thing. Firstly, how do we identify that we may have a problem in this area, other than aesthetically you might go, well, gee, I put on a couple of kilos, whatever. So how do we identify that? And why is it that we're never sort of addicted to, you know, a lettuce sandwich, or I need 5 fruit salads a day? Even though they taste great, it's always the packet of chips, the burgers, the soft drink, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So it never really does, tend to be fruit, veggies, or salads that we find ourselves addicted to. It tends to be more those sort of highly palatable foods, so the foods that tend to be a bit higher in sugar, fat, salt, so things like chocolate, pizza, crisps, donuts, biscuits, all those sorts of things as well. So I guess what we're looking at is if you're trying to identify, do I have food addiction or do I have some sort of addictive eating behaviour? There's no real one definition of what food addiction is, but it tends to, because it can tend to look a little bit different from person to person. But I guess overall it sort of manifests in the way of that compulsive overeating that impacts on an individual's day-to-day functioning, and that can usually also be accompanied by a sense of losing control. So you actually feel like you don't have any control over your eating or your eating behaviours. You need to eat that particular food sort of then and there. And
so you mentioned me going into some of the psychology of this, and I know a lot of this will come out in the data at the other end of this. Yeah. But are there some things that we may be able to look at in the back of our minds? Are there things that can set us on a track to have food addiction psychologically, or things that are just happening in the background that you go, "Oh, better watch out here"?
Yeah, I guess first and foremost, it's trying to identify, why do you eat the way that you do? Like, are there things that maybe are influencing your food choices? Has something maybe happened at work that stressed you out? Do you feel a bit down? Do you suffer from anxiety, or do you have anxious thoughts? And are you using food, I guess, to compensate for some of those behaviours? That might be a bit of a light bulb moment for some people, but it's trying to understand, well, why do I use food? How am I using it? Am I using it to compensate for certain things? That could be sort of that initial step, and we sort of look at that and we address that in the program as well. Why are we using food, and can we utilize more helpful strategies to overcome those sorts of emotions rather than using food.
All right, so you want to stress this is not going into a diet plan or anything like that. This is really identifying if you are, if it might be the forerunner for all of that. So who are we looking for? How long will the study take, Mark?
Yeah, of course. So without going in, I guess, to too much detail, we're looking for about 20 individuals, preferably within the Newcastle area, aged between 18 to 45, both males and females. And the reason that we're focusing on recruiting around the Newcastle area is because if you are eligible, then you will be required to undergo some blood tests and some scans at the Hunter Medical Research Institute next door to the John Hunter Hospital. So if you feel like maybe you have food addiction or you have addictive eating behaviours, or even if you just want to learn a little bit more about our study and see if you're actually eligible for our program, you can jump online and go to tracedietetics.com. So that's TRACE, dietetics.com.au. Or you could email the research team here at Newcastle University on traceresearch@newcastle.edu.au.
All right, sounds like a very interesting study. What you need to do, Mark, is once you're at the other end of this, come back and see if we can plug into some of that data and see if we can figure it out for the rest of us, all right?
Definitely, will do. Thanks very much, Mark.
All right, there he is, Mark Leary from Interesting Stuff, Food Addiction, from the University of Newcastle this morning, right here at 2NURFM 103.7.
A broadcast service of the University of Newcastle.